Sun and Rain. Now, if you've played Pokemon long enough, that should sound just wrong. Sun wants one thing, Rain wants the exact opposite. So how did this team put up those results? Today we're headed to the whiteboard to figure out exactly how those two weather strategies work together to create winning positions. My name is Style, and I'm an excited teacher that likes talking about Pokemon. Let's dive in. Now, to answer this, we first need to understand this team's identity. At its core, this is an offensive team built around two of the strongest weather strategies in competitive Pokemon. On one side, we have Rain with its core, Pelipper, Archaludon, Basculegion, and Grimmsnarl, and on the other side, Venusaur bridges us into Charizard, our Sun mode, and Soul Mega Evolution. But identifying the team isn't enough. Let's start with Charizard. If this team has a closer, it's Charizard. Its combination of powerful special attack, offensive fire and flying typing, and drought ability allows it to overwhelm opponents quickly. Strategically, Charizard is the center of the Sun mode. We're either building our game plan around it or using Charizard to support the rest of the team. From a positional standpoint, Charizard serves as a sweeper. When Sun is active, every turn it remains on the field threatens to create immediate advantage. Of course, Charizard doesn't operate alone. Venusaur helps create the positions Charizard needs to succeed. Its coverage attacks pressure common threats, but the real story is the Sleep Powder attack. Sleep Powder doesn't just stop Pokemon, it stops plans. Every turn an opposing Pokemon spends asleep is a turn this team goes to moving closer to its winning position. From a positional standpoint, Venusaur is an offensive enabler. Whether it's attacking directly or creating space through Sleep Powder, Venusaur constantly forces the opponent to react. Next is Grimmsnarl. While many members of this team generate pressure, Grimmsnarl helps protect it. Reflect and Light Screen allow the team to adapt to incoming threats, while Light Clay extends those adaptation resources from 5 turns to 8 turns. Parting Shot then helps maintain momentum by creating safer opportunities for teammates. Positionally, Grimmsnarl functions as a support Pokemon. Its job isn't to win the game directly, its job is to help everyone else survive long enough to do so. Then we reach Pelipper. Pelipper is more than a Rain setter. It's the foundation of the Rain team. Drizzle activates one of the team's most important resources, immediately being the Rain. But Pelipper also contributes offensively, applying pressure while empowering its teammates. Positionally, Pelipper sits somewhere between support and offense, granting it the hybrid position. It's both a weather setter and an active threat. Basculegion brings raw offensive pressure. Its water and ghost typing allow it to attack many important threats effectively. But what makes Basculegion especially valuable is its ability to maintain tempo. Flip Turn allows it to reposition, Aqua Jet gives it priority, and even when Basculegion isn't taking knockouts, it's helping the team control the pace of the game. Positionally, Basculegion is pure offense. And finally, we have Archaludon. If Charizard can close games quickly, Archaludon can close them methodically, I feel like. Stamina and Electro Shot allow it to become increasingly dangerous as the battle progresses, and its coverage attacks allow it a flexibility into a wide range of opponents. Positionally, Archaludon represents this team's endgame. The longer it survives, the more likely it is to become the piece that finally secures our win. So now that we know what each piece contributes, what must be protected? Looking at this roster, you must think the answer is Charizard or maybe Archaludon. And maybe in a way it is, but really the answer is that we have to protect our tempo. More specifically, tempo through the weather. Because weather is what allows this team access to its strongest attacks, its strongest positioning tools, and eventually its strongest in-game threats, if we lose the weather war, we risk losing access to the advantages that make the strategy work in the first place. So we have to protect the tempo through the weather. Now that sounds good in theory, right? But how does that actually look during a battle? Let's follow one possible path to a winning position, and we'll have other leads here on the screen as well, so that you can take note. We'll begin with Charizard and Venusaur. So if Charizard Mega Evolves and activates Drought, at the same time Venusaur is able to use Sleep Powder and neutralize the opponent's biggest threat. Now the opponent isn't simply responding to attacks, they have to respond to our pressure. Charizard continues applying pressure and damage while Venusaur either attacks or creates additional openings. Eventually the board then changes. Charizard can pivot into Pelipper, Venusaur can pivot into Archaludon, and suddenly the team transitions from Sun into Rain. Now Archaludon has access to Electroshock support while benefiting from the advantages that Rain gives us. And when what started as a Sun pressure team has transformed into our Archaludon in-game, right? And that's exactly how this team is able to go from one winning position to another, an ending winning position. So let's test the team. Using S.T.A.T.E, we can measure which resources this team relies on heavily to generate positional advantage. We'll run it down. For strategy, we have 2 Pokemon, being Charizard and Pelipper. For tempo, we have 4 Pokemon, being Venusaur, Grimmsnarl, Pelipper, and Basculegion. For adaptability, we have 1 Pokemon, being Grimmsnarl. For targeting, we have 3 Pokemon, being Venusaur, Basculegion, and Archaludon. And in-game, we have 2 Pokemon, being Charizard and Archaludon. And this gives the team a score of 4 out of 12, meaning tempo is our highest contribution from our team. And that tells us something really important. This team isn't trying to slowly outlast the opponents. It's trying to create offensive pressure, maintain tempo, and force advantageous exchanges. Of course, every strategy has weaknesses. So what threatens this team's ability to create winning positions? First, what happens if we lose the weather war? Well, without the weather, many of our team's strongest advantages just completely disappear. Second, what if we're facing something that's faster than we are? Well, what we saw from Lexicon in his win on the Grand Champions Festival Encore, his only losses came from hyper-offensive teams, ones that focused a lot on the Annihilate and the Toxapex. And so if hyper offense is forcing us, or is faster than we are, then it's forcing us to play the game at a pace that's faster than we want to play. And so we're not going to be successful in that. And third, what happens if we never reach our Archaludon in-game? And that will only happen if dedicated speed, control, and balance teams are present and make that really difficult for us. And so these are the challenges this team must solve every game. But fortunately, just like we saw with Lexicon, this team can adapt, and it has the tools to do so. It can establish the weather game, or the weather early to the mid game to remove key threats. It can preserve resources to build towards that Archaludon end game, and it can use its offensive pressure in either weather setting to overwhelm opponents before they fully establish their own game plan. So let's return to our original question. Can Sun and Rain work together on the same team? And the answer is absolutely. But the answer isn't simply because Sun is strong, and it's not simply because Rain is strong. But the answer is that both weather modes create different paths towards the same goal, and that is creating winning positions. When you understand how these Pokemon contribute, what resources must be protected, and how the team transitions from one weather mode to another, you can begin to see why this team was able to go 17-2 against more than 4,000 players. And that's a wrap. But before you go, here's your position lab. Look at the team below, and using the evidence from today's video, tell me which S.T.A.T.E category is this team's greatest strength, being one of our 5: strategy, tempo, adaptability, targeting, or in-game. And more importantly, why? That's today's lesson. Your homework is in the comments. Tell me what you saw. And remember, winning isn't just about making plays, it's about creating positions. I'll see you all in the next lesson.